This is a clip from the Chris Break Show podcast.
Just a quick reminder before we start the show that every Saturday night is Punk Rock Night at the Melody Inn in Indianapolis.
Hello, it's your old friend Morgan Freeman, and you're listening to the Chris Break Show. His last name?
I hate it when people do that. This is the Chris Break Show, by the way. I am sitting here with John Rapp. Hey. Yo. And that putting up, I call them same guest bumpers, when a podcast will put the bumper of the guest that they just interviewed at the beginning of the show. Ooh. I find that the tackiest thing in the world, and I never understood why people would ever fucking do that, because it just seems rude. You know, it's obnoxious. Like, you're already going to talk to the guy for 30 minutes. Why do you got to put him saying your fucking name at the beginning of your own show?
But now you know.
I now know why people do it. Because it's a great feeling. That was Josh Robert Thompson.
Josh Robert Thompson.
Doing that, yeah. In case you don't know who the hell he is. Which, for some reason, I find a lot of people don't. But that's the weird...
They probably do know him, they just don't know his name, maybe. They know his voice.
He's on the Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson. He is Jeff the Robot. Or Jeff Peterson. Jeff the Skeleton Robot, the gay skeleton.
Everybody knows
robot.
That character.
Yeah, well, no, now I've been finding out that I tell people, I'm like, hey, I just interviewed Jeff Peterson, Josh Robert Thompson.
Right.
Have to say Jeff Peterson, because obviously they're going to say who.
He even said that.
And I'm like, from Craig Ferguson, and they say who? Right. And a lot of people don't even know who Craig Ferguson is.
Ferguson is, wow.
Yeah.
Don't you watch late night television?
Yeah, the show that follows the Letterman and... Oh, that Scottish guy?
Yeah, that Scottish guy.
Yeah, the fucking Scottish guy. What the hell are you watching? Jesus.
He's not just a one-trick pony, though. The guy does a lot of great stuff.
No, he's got a podcast, which is incredible. I think he's slowing down on it now because he said it was getting out of control. But it's called Driving Myself Crazy Podcast. And it's basically Josh Robert Thompson driving around in his car on his way to and from places, talking into his cell phone and calling it a podcast, which it is. It's a great, great podcast.
This guy's voices, though. His voices are incredible.
Oh, he sits there and he argues with himself with different voices on the show. It's definitely, it's pretty cool. It's a strange, wouldn't even know how to characterize it, but you should definitely give it a listen, and I'm sure don't even have to say that it'll grow on you. You'll actually enjoy listening to it right off the bat. Yeah.
The Morgan Freeman GPS video, that's classic.
Everybody's seen that. That's who this guy is that we talked to. He did the Morgan Freeman GPS commercial on Funny or Die. He's the Apostle BG. The crazy preacher guy, the Cooking with De Niro. He does Robert De Niro reading the fucking, that crazy, like...
That letter.
Yeah, that psychopathic letter from the sorority girls. Like, you've seen these videos. And now you need to put a name with the voice. And it's Josh Robert Thompson. But you will be able to put a name with the voice. Coming soon. Nowhere Girl.
Nowhere Girl.
Movie he's in. New romantic comedy, which I'm fucking...
Are you jazzed up for this, Chris?
I don't admit this enough on my show, but romantic comedies are really one of my favorite genres of film of all time. I know, some people might be embarrassed, but I say fuck you with your action sci-fi bullshit, your superhero movies, fuck that. I like romantic comedies.
He's in a new one, Nowhere Girl.
Yeah. I'm excited. And, I didn't even get a chance to fucking ask him about it. Did not. I'm spiraling out of control here. And I think it's time to just go talk to the man. On the phone. The voice. So who even knows what the guy looks like? Although my sister says he's sexy.
Ooh.
And I told him that.
He liked it.
All right. All right, we now have Josh Robert Thompson on the phone. How are you doing, sir?
Who? Who are you having the phone?
I said Thompson. Thompson.
No, I know you did. I'm saying they don't know who the hell you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's what I wanted.
Yeah, I'm a serial killer. I got 3 names, and thank you for having me on the program. I appreciate it.
Thanks for calling in, man. And yeah, that's one thing that frustrates me, and it sounds like it frustrates you too when I listen to your podcast, is that nobody knows who the fuck you are. You know?
Well, it is understandable mostly because I've spent the early part of my career behind microphones and now hidden behind a wall next to a group of lesbians, which is fine, but that's, on the Late Late Show. But yes, I'm largely hidden away. That is true. So sometimes it is frustrating.
Yeah, if no one knows what he's talking about, the Craig Ferguson Show he is the co-host, and he hides out behind Lesbian Row. If you're ever looking, you can catch glimpses of him on the screen from time to time, hiding over there. Of course, in skits as well.
In the older studio, you could actually see me sometimes over Jeff's shoulder. Oh no, when they would cut to Lesbian Row, you would see this creepy head like in the darkness. And that was me. That was when we were in our smaller studio. So people would take still shots of that and circle it and put it on Facebook. And they'd be like, I think that's you, right? Yeah, you win. You got it, buddy. Good job. But no, now it's funny because I started on the Late Late Show back in 2007 on camera. But once again, I was in heavy makeup as Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then I would play Robert De Niro, and then I was doing the voice of Morgan Freeman. I can't really go on camera as Morgan Freeman because that'd be blackface and that'd be racist. But
although,
Robert Downey Jr. did it, so yeah.
Yeah, well, doesn't Caliendo do that with Charles Barkley? Like he puts on some sort of makeup, and
he puts on a little bit. He puts on like a tan makeup, but Caliendo's a lovely guy. But every person that he portrays physically is usually just a fatter version of that person. But, God bless him. I'm kidding. He's a good guy.
So yeah, here, before we get into Jeff Peterson, I would like to ask you, you're the official voice double of Morgan Freeman? Like, that's insane to me. Like, how does that even happen, and what does that even mean?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I do as a voice actor is voice matching or voice doubling, or as they call it, ADR, or automated dialogue replacement. All that means is, if the actor drops an F-bomb and they want to put it on television, I'm the guy they call in to, turn that word into fudge or flip or frick or something like that.
Who else do you do that with?
Really anybody that they need. What happened once is I went in to do the TV version of the movie Tropic Thunder. And they said, all we want you to do, you're just going to do Matthew What's going on? Everything all right over there?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Oh, I thought it sounded like there was some commotion. I said, it sounded like, did someone break in? You guys all right?
No, we just had to pause for station identification.
Oh my God, where are we right now? Are we on?
We are
live.
We are in Indianapolis in the Chris Brake Show podcast. No, that was not station identification.
That was not station identification. Because I was going to say, if you fuckers are sponsored and my podcast is not, then I'm going to have some strong words.
I gotta figure out how to do that because I noticed you don't have ads. A lot of these podcasts have ads, all sorts of sponsorship running on top of them. And yours,
dude, I got to figure out how to get people to even listen to my goddamn podcast. I don't know who I got to murder, but it's like people are so lazy. I think that's the problem. But we'll get to that in a minute. What I want to say is, before the break-in, before you guys had a theft of some sort happen there, Tropic Thunder, they called me and they said, we just want you to do Matthew McConaughey. That's all you're coming in for. All right. Sounds good. All right. So I come in and I do all of Matthew McConaughey lines that require replacing swear words. And they said, our Nick Nolte guy couldn't make it today. So could you give it a shot? So I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. If you watch me go, I'm fucking don't, I'm doing that. So the engineer guy, I turn around because, when you're doing ADR, you're in this, for those who have never done it, you're basically in a movie theater with all of the seats removed. Imagine you're standing in the middle of, like the middle row of seats, but the seats are gone. It's just you and a microphone and a script and this massive screen, and you hear the voice of God say, all right, let's take it again. Here we go, take 3. Like that, so you have to match the mouth to your voice and do it correctly. And so I turn around, and I just did the Nick Nolte, and the engineer, like, the cigar's falling out of his mouth. He's like, holy shit, we don't even need Nick Nolte. So then they said, can you do Tom Cruise? I don't remember how the hell I did this one, so I'm not going to do it. But they said, somehow I did Tom Cruise as less. Then they said, can you do Robert Downey Jr.? But the trick was, it had to be Robert Downey Jr. as Mel Lazarus, who is Australian. And then it has to be Robert Downey Jr. as Mel Lazarus, as the other guy going, you're a dude disguised as another dude playing a dude, and all. So when it got to saying the part where you had to say full retard, you can't say retard apparently on television, so they had to say full on out.
Full on out.
So now I got to go. You can't never go full on out. So you never go full on out. So what I'm trying to say is, I went in to do one character. I did like 5, and I walked out with a much bigger paycheck. And that's kind of how it goes. I just kind of listen to those things and just do it. So.
But how now? Are you is that official? Like, I know I've heard the phrase "official voice double" of Morgan Freeman. Does that mean he signed off on you?
Yeah, there's an unspoken agreement. I've met Mr. Freeman. I've met him a couple times on the Late Late Show, and he said, "Well, that's crazy. I can't believe that shit's coming out of your mouth. That's unbelievable." It's just, how do you do that shit? That's amazing. So that's what I do. I did it for the Lego. All right, here's a good story. The Lego movie just came out, and Morgan Freeman did that. And so it comes time to do the video game, and they said, okay, Morgan, we need you to come in and do your effort sounds. Effort sounds are like jumping, grunting, punching. And he's like, I ain't doing that shit. I'm not going in there doing that. So I come in and I do Morgan Freeman's grunting and effort noise.
And you played him in the first video game, right? Blue?
Yes, I played him in Lego City Undercover. Yeah, instead of red, it was blue. I actually didn't like how They made me. It doesn't sound very good to me personally, but they purposely made me scale back so it didn't sound so much like Morgan Freeman. In fact, I narrated the Yogi Bear movie. The Yogi Bear movie, the director, they called me back, and hey, I got an extra day of work out of it, but he's like, we need you to, could you be less Morgan Freeman? It's too much Morgan Freeman. Because they didn't want to get sued.
Well, you've gotten that a lot. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, didn't you get a cease and desist when you read 50 Shades of Grey as Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, this is the best. This is how much I do not belong in the YouTube generation pool, because here comes me. I'm like, well, I'm going to put this video up. It's Morgan Freeman narrating a few passages from 50 Shades of Grey. I mean, funny as hell, like just nasty. And so I clearly say it's not Morgan Freeman, but I put the video up, and it was beautiful production, music, piano music, a close-up of Morgan Freeman, and then a close-up of handcuffs, and then, and the video, and I hate using this word. I hate this word so much. This is a word that, old people use now, but it went viral. I feel douchey saying that. I don't want to say it anymore. But it was like 1 million. It was almost 1 million views in half a day. It was on the front page of every website in the world. And I thought, this is it. Now
you're going to get some respect.
You guys can all kiss my ass. And I get a cease and desist. I got to take this. That's my career in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, it does seem like, from listening to your podcast, it seems like a lot of things like that happen to you, where your impressions are just so good that it's kind of screwing up your career, like that Arnold thing you did with the metal band.
Oh man, Austrian Death Machine. You know, Austrian Death Machine was great. I did their second album, Double Brutal. It was a lot of that shit. You know? And but it was great. It was great. And then so the guy Tim Lambesis, I think he's in a little bit of legal trouble right now, but we won't get into that. Tim's had some troubles. God bless him. I think he went to jail, that guy. Oh, my God. Hope he works that out. God bless him. Anyway, but that's what you get. That's what you get, motherfucker, for not putting me on your third album, all right? You know what I
Yeah, you recorded it because you do, like, conversational impressions. Like, I mean, you can do it to where it actually sounds like the person talking. It doesn't sound like some, you know, like, cliche guy going, rah, rah, rah. You know, it actually...
No, that's right. I mean... Yeah, no, I mean, if you know, first of all, let me tell you, you know, it's a great movie that I did with Stallone, and it's fantastic, and it was called Escape Plan and all that, and it was great because, you know, we were in the prison, and I'm like, we're going to get out of here, you know, and then we did it. It's great. Yeah, that's it.
That's impressive, man. Yeah, but that's not what they wanted. So you did all this stuff, and then they decided the Death Machine. They wanted someone who was worse than you. It sounded like.
Well, that's what they said. That's what they said. But I think it was a cop out because I did their album. The second album came out, but the audience, the fan base was like, the first guy on the first album was better, and of course on the first album he was like, get to the chopper, you know. And it's funny. I mean, I get it. It's funny, but they didn't want that. So, but I think instead of coming out and telling me that, they just had me replaced by some other guy who's really talented, Joe Gaudet, Gaudet. Joe does an amazing Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, it's like that's cool, but it was kind of crappy. You know, so that's kind of why I got turned off on doing impressions. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm gonna start doing some other shit. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Like, when are you moving to the Midwest and opening up that the grocery store?
No, hell no, man, hell no. Dude, don't believe anything I say on that fucking show. Don't even believe it. It does sound kind of nice, though. It does sound kind of nice. If I opened up a liquor store in the Midwest, you know, I would talk like Morgan Freeman when everybody walked in the door. You know, well, here comes Jerry the town drunk. Look at that. Trying to get himself some woodchuck cider. Oh, that's a pussy drink, Jerry. Why don't you try something more manly? So,
yeah, you did
anyway.
Yeah, that Funny or Die video was great. The GPS.
Yeah.
All those in your Vine. Yeah, dude, you entertained the shit out of me over here. I'll tell you that right now.
It's good, man. I appreciate that. You know, my favorite thing to do is and this character I've been doing for years, and I do it in stand-up, is the preacher character that I do, the Apostle BG. And that's my favorite thing that I do.
Yeah, you talk about that on your podcast, that a lot of people just don't get that, or they don't, you know, that's your favorite character, but it sounds like they don't appreciate it the way you want them to, and everyone's late show.
Well,
late show.
I don't think they can see it either, because when I do it live, it always does really well, except for Dallas, but that's another story. You know, that's like 68% hardcore Christians over there, and that was a tough sell. It was a tough sell. But no, but I think it's a strange thing, because, you know, you want people to like the new stuff, and eventually I'm sure they'll come around. But then you put up Cooking with De Niro or Morgan Freeman GPS, and they go crazy. And you know, you'd think I'd be happy, but I'm like sitting over here with the gun to my head going, fuck, it's doing well, god damn it. But
maybe it's just because it's something they haven't heard of. You know, like everybody knows De Niro.
I think so. And also,
I bet if you change him,
very true.
If you add in Westboro into his title, I'm sure you'd get 1 million views.
Maybe. I think so. I think people will come around, but I just shot a television pilot for my own show for a comedy variety series, and a lot of the videos from that pilot are the videos that we've been putting up on YouTube on my website, and that's the Apostle, that's the Morgan Freeman GPS, and Cooking with De Niro, and the gay cabaret singer Robin Super. So that's all that stuff that I've been putting up. So hopefully somebody somewhere will see that. I gotta think they would, but you never know.
So are you giving up on the Arnold voice? Because I'll tell you that.
Nah, I'm not giving. No, man. If someone writes me a check, I mean, I'll do the Arnold. But,
that's Stern, man. When you were on Howard, you said that shit to George Takei. Like that was one of the. I think that's probably the first time I ever recognized you and realized who you were, was hearing that. That shit cracked me up when you said, maybe I'll have to give you a reach around sometime.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And my favorite part of that was 4:30 in the morning, East Coast. I'm in my boxer shorts in my bathroom because that's where the signal worked on my phone. That's the only place I could get bars. And I did that whole interview improvised. I think I was standing on top of the toilet because you had to have the phone up by the ceiling of the bathroom to get full bars. So I was in this crappy apartment at the time, and I'm like, Howard, good morning, how are you? So fucking nervous, man. I'm like, Howard starts the toughest room in comedy, really. If you're going to play a room, that's the tough room. And if you can make those guys laugh. And I did. And then from then on, I called in probably off and on for about 8 years on that show as fake Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, that's trademarked now, isn't it?
I think so. I think somebody's full of shit and put that. That's not trademarked. I don't know what to call it. Is that on IMDb?
I saw that somewhere. Somewhere it said trademarked, like fake Arnold trademarked.
It's all horseshit. The internet is just awful. It's awful, really. Yeah. Like, I'm going to get worked up and say, no, I'm fake Arnold. I trademarked it. I'm going to sue you.
No, I think they trademarked it. Is what I read.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, that's what it said. The phrase "fake Arnold" was trademarked by the whatever company that is.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you got to be careful with that because like Jeff the Robot. I mean, I can't. Once I leave that show, I can't do shit with that guy. I can't. Because they own it. That's their baby. So you can't. You can't do anything with that.
Are you allowed to do anything with that outside of it, or is that still
No, not at all. Not at all. Because, Craig and I have tried to take the Robot on tour when we go on comedy tours, but it's like, nope.
Oh, wow.
Can't do it.
So we have to refer to him as Jeff the Robot? Is that what
we have to. No, we were coming up with, Seth the GoBot is what we would call it. And nobody would know. Although I think Seth the GoBot is hosting Late Night currently on NBC. I'm just kidding. Come on. I like that show. He's a funny guy. I like that show. Got to change that set, though, man.
I've not watched it.
You've been watching that?
No, man, I don't.
It's pretty.
I'm telling you, Ferguson is the only thing I watch. Letterman. I was raised on Letterman. And then now it's Ferguson. Like I can't even. I don't even give the other guys a shot. Maybe somebody happens to show it to me, but I just can't do it. I don't know why. It's Midwest loyalty.
Yeah, I understand. That's good. No, I appreciate that. But I can't. Obviously, I cannot watch the Late Late Show. I cannot watch the show that I'm on because that's really douchey. Like if somebody walks in the living room and I'm watching the show, going, "Yeah, that was good." That thing is Like I can't.
Dude, yeah. But ever since you joined that show, go ahead, man.
No. I was gonna say I like. I was surprised how much I like how much I enjoy Fallon on the Tonight Show. I was really because I'm 39 and I grew up with Johnny Carson, and then once Leno took over, I tapped out. I hadn't watched that show for 22 years, so I'm like, I don't think so. And I think Fallon's doing a really good job over there. It's kind of like recharge the late night scene, so that's cool. I think it's doing everybody a favor, really.
That's good. I like how Conan was just kind of breezed over in the when they were showing the history of some big commercials they had. It was like the history of the Tonight Show, and it showed all the hosts, and Conan had like a half second, that they dedicated to him.
It's sad, man. That does suck. It's like they didn't even give that guy a year. I mean, obviously everybody's talked about this to death, but it is really sad. Conan's a really great host too, and so is Kimmel. I watched Kimmel's Oscar after Oscars special, and that was pretty funny. He's got that Guillermo guy, so there's a lot of good stuff about each of those shows. But I definitely think for the first time I'm flipping through the channels and I see Seth Meyers is on, and then there's some infomercial. Usually I'm watching Trinity Broadcast Network because I love watching those preachers because it's just like the most fascinating thing in the world.
Doing research.
It makes me laugh. So it's like brilliant. I'm like, wow, I grew up in Ohio. This is like exactly what, anyway. But then you go to our show and there's like a skeleton robot in a forest. It's like yelling Scottish guy. And you go, wow, that is different. That is different.
Yeah, man. Once you join that, that cast there, the robot, and actually doing the voice full time, like that was definitely a shift. Like I think that's the greatest thing I've ever seen on TV. Like I know that Craig constantly jokes, yeah, this is really on your TV right now, but I still can't believe it when I'm watching it most of the time. It just fucking cracks
it's cool,
me up,
man. It's really cool. It is. I'm really, he. All credit to Craig Ferguson. I mean, the guy gave me a shot and said, he was doing the voice of the robot for like the first week, and then he said, I'm tired of doing it, and because it was pre-recorded voices or pre-recorded audio clips that he would have to respond to. But see, he already knew what he was going to say because he recorded the voice of the robot. And if you know the show, you know that Craig loves spontaneity and improvisation. So that really sucked for him. And also, the voice was terrible. It was like, "Hello, I am Jeffrey Payton." It was like horrendous.
Yeah,
horrendous. So,
yeah, but that's when he was like sitting on the couch, right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, it was weird, dude. I'm like, this ain't gonna last. I don't know what this is.
That was pretty creepy. He looked like he scared the shit out of Kristen Bell when she was sitting next to him.
Yeah, he did. He did. And then I think like all of my stuff was pre-recorded for a year, and then in 2011, we started doing it live. I started actually. So I puppeteer. I control Jeff. And I voice him, and I do all the musical instruments, and obviously I do all the voices of pretty much everybody else on the show, other than Craig. I do not puppeteer Craig. And Shadow Stevens is also the Shadow Stevens. He's the announcer of the show. But it's pretty crazy, man. It's an amazing place.
Do you ever get in trouble? Do you ever get in trouble with the shit that comes out of Jeff's mouth? Because sometimes you say some crazy stuff, like that log swapping thing you did for Christmas.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, you know what, man? It's funny. To their credit, the producers of the show have only slapped my hand two times in the entire time that I've been doing that show. And it's on after 12:30, and you would think that nobody would care, but man, they really get worked up. They spend a lot of time editing that show once we finish. And the first time they got upset with me is because I was doing Jeff the Robot pretending to be drunk, which was like the funniest thing
hilarious.
in the
world. Yeah, that was really, really good. With the was there a hummingbird or something flying around the studio? Like, is that?
Well, it used to be when the horse used to run out. The secretariat used to run out when the doorbell would ring, and the secretariat would run out and then go away. And I was like, "Did you see that horse?"
Okay, that's
crazy. Right. So Craig was in hysterics. Craig was like crying, laughing, and then we did it again another time. And the thing you have to understand, here's the thing. During the show, I am on the other side of this wall that separates me from the audience, and there's no headphones. Like, I'm not being given directions from anybody, which is great, because I would kill myself if they were like, here, you got to wear an earpiece, because then they would just be like, Josh, say this, Josh, do that, and then the show would die. It would be terrible. They wanted to do that with Craig in the beginning, too. He jokes about it. They wanted to give him an earpiece so they could give him directions during the show. Are you kidding me? Oh, my God.
Jesus.
So I'm kind of on an island. I mean, I show up. Craig and I do not talk really at all unless we're on tour. We don't prepare anything. We don't discuss anything. The minute we start talking is when the cameras come on, and we have no idea what we're going to say. And Michael Natus, the producer, the guy that you always see behind the little podium there next to the camera in the dark, who's always, shaking his finger at Craig, he is not able to talk to me. No one talks to me during the show. So I just say whatever the hell comes to mind, and so it's kind of a crazy show that way, that I'm not told what to say, and I'm not given any direction during the show.
What's the thing where they'll just come up to you, when you said on your show that they'll come up to you with little like Post-its with single words on them and say, you can't say this? Is that a challenge, like just to keep you on your toes, or is that just them not wanting these words said?
I think it's a weird thing where they'll say to me, and this is the other thing they said, was, okay, Josh, you know, we need to cut down on the cock and balls references during the show.
It's a great thing to be told.
Well, I'm like, that's like 90% of the show. I don't know what we're going to do now. So, but Craig can say it, but it's usually, but Josh, you know, Jeff can't say it. If Craig talks about vagina or penis or anything, it's fine, but don't bring it up again. If he turns to you and tries to get you to say it, you can't. So that really fucks with my head, because then I'm like, well, then he's going to be like, what's wrong with you, man? Why are you sucking tonight? And I'm like, well, because I can't say anything. and that's why we started calling Michael a racist. That became the racist thing. And so that became kind of a fun bit. But, you know, look, it comes and goes, man. You know, sometimes they don't say anything. Sometimes nobody cares. I just go in and try to just make people laugh. That's all I can do, really. So.
I think it's interesting. Speaking of going in, I think it's interesting that, like, you're hiding, like, nobody knows what you look like. And I wonder if that frustrates you, you know, that everyone, because, I mean, I know you don't do it for all the attention, but it is weird. It is weird when, obviously, everybody knows who Craig Ferguson is, but I heard you say that you'd walk into the studio and you'd walk past fans and they wouldn't even get out of your way because they didn't know who you were, because they don't recognize you. You know, they don't know that you're the best. Really, experiments?
Yeah. No, we did an experiment with, and the article should be out soon, but Playboy magazine actually interviewed me and did an article about me, which is amazing. And I'm like, I hope you guys, you know, publish it before the show is off the air. And so the Playboy guy, the guy that was interviewing me, he says, let's do an experiment. I want to hang out with you outside of CBS where the audience is queuing up to go in, and let's pretend like we're here to see the show. So we actually sat in the middle with all these people waiting to go in to see the Late Late Show. And this one lady, I said, excuse me, I need to get by. And she said, excuse you, I'm sorry. So clearly nobody knows who I am. But I think even if they didn't know what I looked like, it would be cool if people would associate my name with, like, the Robot, Alfredo Sauce and the Shy Fellas Band, Jerry from Room Service, like all of those people. I always want to, like, do a little short documentary, like, showing what it looks like back there. And I think people need to see it. They need to actually see it to understand that there's a guy doing everything.
Yeah, they need to see there's nothing going on out there. There's just one guy doing all the voices.
Exactly.
That'd probably take away from some of the, yeah, it'd probably take away from some of the magic. Yeah, people don't understand. You said there's some people that think that Craig controls the robot behind the desk.
Right. Like, they think that Craig puppeteers the robot and throws his voice somehow. I'm like, wow, you got problems.
That's insane to me. All right, one last question. Yeah. I was listening to an old episode of you on, oh man, I can't remember the name of the show. Start with a W. Like another impressionist. But you were talking about doing impressions, like a woman asking you during sex to do an impression. Like, that's
right.
That's ridiculous. I had one voice that I used to do, like this hillbilly called the Bastard Priest. And my old girlfriend at the time asked me to do that voice, you know, it was like like during sex, and it totally threw me off my game and fucked me up. And you know, I've never been big into the dirty talk, but doing an impression during sex just sounds insane to me.
Like, I mean, this might be a little awkward, but I mean, do you have her number still? Because I think because man,
you might be exactly what she needs.
No, I don't know. That's wow, that's a wild girl right there.
He said it happened to you. Do you ever have any weird impressions? Like, do they?
Yeah, I think. Well, no, it was more like fucked up shit that I would do right after sex, a little post-coital Arnold Schwarzenegger, always. Because like she would be facing, whatever girl was there that night, yeah, please, and you know, because that's what they go for. Are you the guy that does all the voices on the Late Late Show? Oh my God, let's have sex. No, she was facing away from me, and I would touch her back, and I would say, "Oh, it was fantastic. It was great."
Yeah, more of this. Yeah, more of this. Yeah.
So that, and then my other favorite voice is my black guy voice, Darnell Jenkins. And again, when the woman is facing away, I'll be like, yeah, you know what, baby? Yeah, that was great. Yeah, oh, yeah, come on, let's do it, girl. You know how I like it. You know how we do it. Yeah, let's get all up in this. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, oh, yeah. That's usually, yeah. She's getting turned on. Some of the ladies there are getting turned on. I apologize for that.
It's quite all right.
I think you made a few of them blush.
Yeah, I understand.
My sister has definitely said that you are a very sexy man. I just
wow.
wanted that. I wanted that on the record.
I don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble, but I will say I don't want any trouble. But I will say that my haircut now looks like what Brad Pitt's hair looked like at the Oscars. So I'm just saying it's going to get ugly. It's going to get weird. And by the way, when you get your hair cut like Brad Pitt, that doesn't mean that you look like Brad Pitt. I'm just letting you know it doesn't work. It does not work.
But in your case, you might be able to sound like him. So
yeah, I'm working on that one. I'm working on those weird ones. Yeah.
From the Chris Brake Show podcast.